People deluded, I'm back again. Where's Dan? He's here. There he is. Technical difficulties just like us against PSG, people. Don't worry, the man's here. Unfortunately, Dan, man, big up yourself. As you lot know, people, Fridays, where I'm on Dan's channel, he's on mine. This is our day. It's a shame about what we're going to discuss. Yeah, man, we're at that point as Arsenal fans, Dan, man, where we're riding high and then it's all right off, man. But we saying, how you doing, my guy?
Listen, apart from football, I'm doing good. Life's good. And do you know what? The weather's come out nice and sunny today. So after this, I'm going to go sit in some sunshine and try and relax and chill with some food, because that's the most important things in life, my bro. The things that you don't take for granted. And if I'm honest with you, Arsenal right now have done their best to put me in a bad mood. I've woke up better today than I was yesterday, DG. Let me tell you that.
I'm with you, man, in that. You know what? When we went out, obviously I was disappointed. I was gutted. I was angry. I was all of that. But I think I felt better than I actually did. Then obviously yesterday, I was probably how you're feeling today, in that, you know what? There's other things in terms of perspectives. The biggest disappointment is, the only trophies we've won is beating Real Madrid and beating City. We have to hold the banter. We all know who's in the final. We'll get onto that. But let me get your immediate thoughts while they're still relatively raw of the second leg, man. Like, what went right, if anything, what went wrong, and everything in between, my boy.
Let's go with the team. No shocks. Thought it would be that. Let's go with the start. First 10, 15. Maybe I could push it to 20. I was quite encouraged, if I'm honest with you. Felt we missed some chances. I thought Declan Rice should have done better with a header. I thought Martinelli could have done better with his shot. I know it was saved, but it was kind of straight at him. Ødegaard had an unbelievable shot, which was probably the only thing he's done in the last 6 months. And it's a world-class save. I've got to be honest with Donnarumma. It's a world-class save.
And he picked a Saka one in the second half. Had a big game.
Yeah, he was brilliant in the second half. Brilliant all game. So I'm encouraged by that. Martinelli's cooking Hakimi for the first 10, 15. Lewis Skelly, I thought, was flicking it over, man. I'm thinking, wow, we've come out fighting here, confidence.
We might have a remontada on.
Well, I wanted that. I think we all wanted that, right? And then I think within 20 minutes after that, we saw the weaknesses and how quickly it could change when Kvaratskhelia hits the post. And I'm like, phew. And that shook us. Saliba gives the ball and it's a bad pass to Kivior. Raya rolls it out to Rice. It's poor. He then fouls. A free kick happens and then boom, the tie's pretty much done with a deflected shot from Ruiz. And I'm like, that's how easy it was to kill us. And I just don't think we recovered from that goal, if I'm honest with you. I mean, I'm not saying we were poor. I'm not saying we were shambles or diabolical. The players, I think, did what they could. I don't think any of them were outstanding. I was disappointed with Thomas Partey. I was disappointed with Rice. I was disappointed in our captain again. And as much as I felt like Saka and Martinelli had started pretty well, I'm not too sure they had the best of games. I thought Saka was probably one of the better of a bad bunch, although he missed a sitter. The goal was great that he scored, but I expect him to do better with that. Timber, I thought, had probably one of the other games of the night, which I thought was probably one that could hold his head up high. The rest of the team, it weren't on it, man. And I've got worries and concerns about some of them individually, but I really am at the stage
now. Let us know, man.
Needs to end.
It's like a therapy session right now, Dan, man.
Yeah. Look, the season needs to end. Let's get it right. There's 3 games left that no one cares about. And I know that we want to win all 3, but no one's really too fussed by it because everyone's so disappointed. When I look at the individuals at the time, I'm wondering why Saliba's been bad in the last 6 or 7 games. Is it because his head's turned? I genuinely asked that question. I'm looking at the individual performances that continue from Ødegaard, and I'm worried about that. I don't feel like Timber and Saka, although they are definitely up there with 2 of the better performances, are they really 100% fit? That right-hand side don't look quite right. Then I look at the scenario of Kivior thinking, is he actually going to be a centre-half that we can rely on next season? Because I think he might want to go. David Raya is moving mad in goal. It has to be said. He's putting us under pressure with his mad little flicks and roll out to the ball when players are on him. He's never in his goal. He's standing up as a centre-back. He thinks he's Steve Bold or Tony Adams half the time. So that's worrying me. Marino, as much as I like his link-up play and his work, I don't think he's got any threat whatsoever in the box. We're seeing crosses being drilled across. There's nobody there. Martinelli looks 1 minute great, next minute poor. Trossard's coming on as a sub and showing a little bit of impact that when he starts, he can't do it. And then I come quickly to the manager because I felt it was a disgrace the other night. Not just his comments after the game, which was nothing but disrespectful to PSG and the rest of the teams in this tournament. Pathetic loser, if I'm honest, has to be said. But also during the game, bruv. Like, people have said to me, what could he have done? Well, Well, do you know what?
They might not have worked, but you could have tried something.
Try. Please try. Do something. Well, I did do something. I bought on a light for light left back and a light for light left winger. Right, try something different. Well, I bought on 2 fullbacks we needed to score. So we've got 6 defensive-minded players and we've got to score 2 goals. So the only attackers on the pitch are Saka and Martinelli and Martin Odegaard, who somehow still stayed on the pitch. That's it. Marino, you could say, is attacking because of where he's playing, but he wasn't attacking in the game. He was dropping deep. So we're really and truly trying to score 2 goals at least just to keep the game going. And we're bringing on 2 fullbacks. Ethan Nwaneri nowhere to be seen. No one knows what he's done wrong. No one knows where he is. The Odegaard's stinking out the gaff. Zinchenko's there if you want to bring him on. Tierney's there if you want to overlap and put some crosses in. Tierney's there if you want to bring him at left back and ask Lewis Skelly to go into the 8 role. Nothing. Over 2 legs, we saw nothing, bruv. And that to me shows that we've got naivety in the manager, a manager that's stubborn, a manager that either doesn't know what he's doing or doesn't want to take risks in that game. And you ain't going to win nothing with a manager like that because they're not elite. Now, people have said to me, why would you go 3 at the back? We haven't done that since COVID. Ironically, since we last won a trophy when we played that position, that formation. Try it. Try it. When Timber gets...
Nothing changes, as I always say.
Nothing changes. Timber goes down. Oh, it's got to be Ben White. Why does it have to be Ben White? Why can't it be Trossard comes on and then Martinelli goes through the centre with Marino? Or maybe you keep Martinelli wide for space and bring Trossard and gamble through the middle. Why can't you do that? Why can't you drop one of your defensive midfielders, Partey having a stinker, take him off and then bring in something with more legs like Zinchenko or maybe Lewis Skelly gets a turn in there? He didn't want to try anything, bro. And that's what worries me, is we're a manager that says, well, this is plan A. And if plan A doesn't work, I'm going to stick with plan A. I'm not going to try and make plan A better. I'm not going to change or revert to plan B or C. I'm just going to stick with plan A and work until it works. And they say, don't they? Is it Einstein that said the first sign of madness is to just keep doing the same thing even though you don't work or whatever it's
and expect different results.
There we go. That's the one bit, but better put than me. I'm frustrated because I felt like if we would have got past PSG, we had a really good chance against Inter Milan. And I'm not saying like one of these, we got no chance. Of course we have a chance. We've seen
You're in a final. You've got 50% chance.
You roll the dice and you go for it. And unfortunately, we're not going to get that opportunity now, bro. So lots of things wrong, lots of question marks, lots of worries and concerns going into the new season because although I would get rid of the manager now, I know he's not going anywhere, my bro. So
we're gonna get onto the manager, man. We're gonna get onto that. I have a duty to ask you certain things. I know why I think you say, the plan A stuff and the lack of plan B. I know my own reasons as to why I agree with that comment, yeah. But I think I have a duty to ask the chat, in case they don't know where you're going with it or where I might be going with it. Why do you think there is a plan A and that's it, and there's a reluctance to change things? Is it arrogance? Is it naivety? Is it in his own way? This is what he wants to do. Does he not have that in his locker? Like, why doesn't he pivot? Because I think me and you are aligned in that we're not managers. We're armchair experts. We're not saying that these things are going to work, and we're not saying we wouldn't necessarily criticize you. If you went to if you took off one defender and we got hit, we'd obviously say that's where it happened. But I think me and you are quite aligned in a sense of, if you tried something and that happened, we'd say, you know what, fair enough. You tried a thing, it didn't work because it goes against what you've been trying before. But why do you think there's a reluctance? And it's quite predictable how 80 odd minutes on, we're going to make subs. Like, why do you think he doesn't try a plan B or have one? Because it's clearly an issue now.
4 reasons. Arrogance, believes he's better than he actually is. Stubbornness, number 2. Believes that although in the back of his mind, he probably knows he might have to change it, he's going to stick by it and stand by what he believes in. Fear. I think he's got genuine fear that if he does change it up, it might not be something that he's used to or wants to take the risk for. So therefore, he's then going to blame himself, which comes back to the arrogance and the stubbornness thing. And then lastly, PTSD. Because he tried to do something different against Man City in the last 2 years and it hasn't worked for him.
We got smoked.
So I think there's 4 words there which sum up our manager. And if I'm honest, that's going to limit us moving forward if he continues to keep those traits. Because I'm all for arrogance if you've won something. Thierry Henry is one of the most arrogant I known out there, but he could back it up, right? I'm all for being fearful and having PTSD. Learning from mistakes is great, but don't never go down that road again. Yeah. Otherwise, you're never going to pass your driving test. If you crash and you never get back in the car again, or you just sit in it, turn the engine on and off, but don't move anywhere, you're never going to get anywhere and move past your driving test, right? So for me, you have to then go and have that kind of take that risk. And then with the actual stubbornness, I actually believe that most managers have this. It's about what level of stubbornness you have. So Arsene Wenger was very stubborn. I don't think centre half. I don't need this defensive midfielder. I'm going to play Coquelin there. I'm going to play Song there. I'm not
We're
going to
playing attacking football regardless.
Precisely. Arteta is kind of the opposite to him. You know, someone the other day, I don't know who it was, started to liken him to Arsene Wenger. I agree with that in terms of the arrogance and stubbornness, but his style of play is nothing of the sort. It's a complete opposite. I would say it's more George Graham than Arsene Wenger, and even that he's not great at.
Our biggest threat is the Partey long throws in the PSG game. I couldn't believe it. Now I wanted it to work, but I was thinking, damn,
I could not believe that we've reverted.
Put it in the mixer, man. Rory, did that be proud?
Wow. Now look, there's
Copy
nothing
that
wrong
from
with doing
Cemento
that because you've noticed a weakness in their side. There's nothing wrong with that, doing that. But you've got to capitalize on it because otherwise it looks silly. We're doing Rory Delap throw-ins in a semi-final of a Champions League and going out. That does not look good. You do a Rory Delap throw-in in a semi-final of a Champions League and go through 3-0 with 3 set pieces, you're a genius. That's how fickle it is. That's how close it is. And this is what comes down to the arrogance and stubbornness thing, DG. When you are that, you have to get it right. Yeah, you have to. When you go and play your strongest side against Bournemouth, everyone's questioning why when you've got PSG in a few days, you have to win. This is what I keep saying about this manager. People are saying he's taking this, he's doing that. No, I've always went to... Look, these are the simple reasons I don't trust in him. And it's those 4 things. Arrogance, stubbornness, fear, and PTSD. They're the 4 things that he's got that I have absolutely no... I don't know how anyone can defend that, you know? If you say them 4 words, you think that's harsh about this manager, you haven't been watching this manager for 5 years. Because they are 4 things that sum him up, whether it be from the start till now, or whether the 2 of the traits have come in the last year, the last 2 years. All 4 of those things are true. And I'm not saying they're bad traits because PTSD is a positive. You can say, cool, that happened last time. Let's not do that again. Let's change.
Go down that road again, yeah.
I'm fearful of this because it didn't work last time. So I'm going to take this risk instead of that. But you can still be fearful that different risk might not work. You can be arrogant because you believe that you're good enough. And when you sit there with trophies and go, this is why I'm arrogant, because I back it up. And you can be stubborn because you believe, no, I've tried that before, it ain't working. I know this will work. There we go. Prove right. So all 4 of those things could be good traits. Unfortunately for him, they're negatives at the moment, bro.
I think you're bang on the money, man. You know, you're a genius if it works. You're an idiot if it doesn't. Unfortunately, we haven't got anything in it set in stone. I want to ask you about the players, yeah, because if I feel sorry for anyone, I do feel sorry for the players, you know. I really do, because I can criticize if they were meant to be bought for this club, if they're suitable to their roles, their ability. The one thing I can't question, though, whether I rate them or not, is how much they've wanted it. As you like, again, no excuse for Odegaard because you've been past fit, but it's clear that something's going wrong with you. You're still out there. Declan Rice is crying out for reinforcements in January. Kivio's been, as romantic as it is, he's been slapped into kind of a situation that he's not kind of built for. Timber post ACL, Saka is barely fit, all of those kind of things. I feel like if this was a job, yeah, and these were your workers, and like obviously Mikel Arteta and those above him, whoever is in charge of recruitment, I don't think they've put their best foot forward. I don't think they've helped them. I don't think we built on what we needed to build on in the summer, obviously, and being proactive in that. January, I think we signed up for certain things because we, for whatever reason, whether we tried or not, we didn't, as you know yourself, Dan, we didn't bring no one in. So that tells me indirectly you believe we have enough, regardless of how this season pans out. And I know the league went down the shitter, you know, the domestic cups, we didn't get to where we needed to go to. The Champions League provided somewhat of a shining light. And after the Madrid game, it feels like any sort of like energy and juice or whatever, it feels like it went into those 2 games, and that's kind of it. Like, do you feel sorry for the players, like regardless, like, because I must admit I do, you know, I really feel sorry for them regardless. I know they're the ones playing and have to take responsibility, but I think they've been let down. I'll be real.
I think the fans and the players have both been let down.
Yeah, fans as well.
I'll tell you why. I saw the summer window shut and Sterling coming on deadline day, and I knew we weren't going to win anything this season. Now, a lot of people believed that it was too early to go. And do you know what? At the time, maybe they were justifiable to say, at least let's see how it pans out. But I knew deep down that it was going to pan out this way. Then we got to the Saka injury on the 31st of December. I thought, oh, this is going to be tough now. But at least it's January now, we can go and bring somebody in. And on the 31st of January, when that window shut, or the 1st of December, whenever it was, I realized, yeah, I'm going to be right. We're not going to win anything here. 5 weeks later, we're out of all competitions other than the Champions League. The title's gone, the Carabao Cup's done, and the FA Cup we're out of. And then we go for the Champions League, and I'm looking at this squad. And if I'm a player, and I put my fan hat off and put my player shoes on, and I'm looking around me, I'm thinking, is this what you're leaving us with in the trenches? Real talk.
Tierney left wing, you know, it wasn't too long ago that was a thing.
Bruv, we're getting fired at, and you're leaving me with this? I'm looking around, I'm seeing my central midfielder you bought in the summer up top. I'm looking at an 18-year-old kid at left back and one that's been begged to come on at right wing. I'm looking at Saka, who's got his hamstring hanging off, and Havertz and Co are all injured. I've got Odegaard, who's underperforming because he's clearly injured. Why are we in this mess? And you expect us to go win the Champions League like this? Now, don't get me wrong. I believed Arteta could have. I believed Arteta could have actually got us across the line. And should have, to be fair. And it's not because he's good enough and it's not because the squad's good enough. It's because he ain't got no credit in the bank, bruv. He ain't got no credit in the bank anymore to say, if we don't win this, don't matter. Go for another one. So as much as I don't blame Mikel Arteta this season solely, I blame our board and our ownership as well. I look at it scenario and think, do you know what? Whether you blame him, them, he, she, that, or the dog, or the Gunnosaurus, or whatever the hell you put the down to, yeah?
Or the tifo.
Or the tifo, or the fan base, or the atmosphere. We've been let down as a fan base. Arsenal Football Club have failed this season. They failed
100%.
to deliver again, and they've let down the fans who pay good money. And I found out today that fans were paying an unbelievable amount of money to go and watch that amount in Paris. We're talking thousands and thousands.
See what I'm saying?
And I hope the club hang their head in shame. I don't have the faith that they will, bruv, because I don't think the ownership are interested in winning.
We trust nothing else at this moment.
Well, look, he's got a hell of a lot of pressure put on him, and I think that's a little bit harsh, if I'm honest.
It is harsh.
Because I'm not expecting miracles. I'm expecting good things. I'm not expecting Berta to come in, give us an invincible season, and say, go win a treble. That's not that easy. Because what I'm being told is that we need to have a process. So does he get a process? Does Berta come in and
he deserves that?
Yeah, I'm saying. So how does it work? Look, I've had enough of processes, phases, and give me this time, this, that, and the third. I want to win. I feel like the team are good enough to win a trophy. Are they good enough to win a Premier League trophy or a Champions League trophy? Maybe they're not. Maybe that's a genuine conversation to have. But they're good enough to win a trophy. If Eddie Howe's Newcastle can win a trophy, yeah, and one of Manchester United or Spurs can win a trophy, Arsenal can win a trophy this season.
Palace have a chance as well.
Palace as well. Manchester City. So
yeah, in their worst season
right now, the big six are all in the final other than us, G. It's crazy.
Someone said we let the country down, man. Even though we're the last men standing in the Champions League, you know, we've probably been the worst performing team at this moment in terms of getting to a final, unfortunately.
There we go.
It's sad, man, and it's upsetting, and it's always like, ironically, you just took a sip of your juice. It's like the glass is half empty, half full. In that, despite the injuries and everything, we've got to 2 semi-finals. The league, there's no excuse, and I think the league, personally, for me, is a true mark of your performance, because over the course of 38 games, all the issues are going to be there. Now, I find myself saying the same things when we drop points or we go out of competitions. In that, I think we signed up for these things when, going back to what you said, we didn't do what we needed to do in the market. I think a lot of our draws and defeats, there's other reasons, but it looks like the players have been out of steam. Everything has to go right because there's no protagonist. We're relying on certain players that go through, you know, like the purple patches. Saka's the only one you expect him to do it for the majority of it. Obviously, you mentioned Martinelli, you know, Martinelli and Trossard, as much as I don't think they're terrible players, if we're still relying on them to make the difference in terms of goals we're in issues, you've got Saka where there's 5-6 players locking him up, and he should have scored 2 and he did score, but you've got nobody else. Obviously, you mentioned Mikel Arteta, which I agree with, in the in-game solutions. And actually, I think I would also say dropping points from winning positions, but actually as well, where I look at it as well, there's another thing. Is that I look at set pieces. You look at the goals we've conceded from set pieces and dead balls. That's actually what killed us in the second leg. Like, it was fine margins. That's what the Champions League's about. Like, unfortunately, Rice has conceded that free kick. Other players have switched off. We've had 3 opportunities and we've done whatever. I guess the point I'm making is, it feels like I'm watching the same movie and expecting a different ending, which, as me and you know, if we both put a DVD on and we're both watching the same movie, if we expect something different, me and you are probably lunatics. Like, if nothing changes, nothing kind of changes. And I want to ask you, do you feel there's I know you hate projects and processes and everything, bro, but do you think there's like two projects, going on at once? And what I mean by that is, obviously, Arteta is the Arsenal manager, but if we just look at him isolated, yeah, this is his second season being in the Champions League, as a manager, second time he's been in the champs, good, bad, and the ugly. And then obviously you bring in Arsenal Football Club, in which he's intertwined. Me and you, we all want silverware. We'll big up Arteta when he does well, criticize him when it goes left. Do you think there's like 2 projects in one, in that we're trying to develop Arteta as a manager and obviously trying to get over the line as a football club?
That's not an opinion, that's a fact. So what you've just said is absolute facts. Whether you want to try and agree or disagree with that, nothing you've said there is factually incorrect. Mikel Arteta is building a CV for himself.
Yeah.
What Arsenal are doing, they're helping him do that, right? So he is trying to build his first managerial career CV. It's a good start because he won an FA Cup, but 5 years later, he's been building teams and trying to progress a team to win a lot more trophies. So we are trying to build a CV for Mikel Arteta. And unfortunately, there's a section of the fan base that are putting that before the club. And they are
100%.
believing that he is the guy and there's nobody better and he will do it. And they're so fixated on this dream that it's Arteta that delivers it. And do you know what? I wish it is and I hope it is.
I hope it
At the
is. We've
end of
got no
the day,
choice.
yeah, got no choice. It's got to be him. But you're right in saying there's two processes, because one process is Mikel Arteta's CV building. The other process is the project of Arsenal winning trophies. And unfortunately, we're kind of failing in both because his CV's being damaged by him bottling stuff every year. And Arsenal Football Club are being damaged because they're going a season after season without any silverware. So at the moment, the process is not working. The process, in my opinion, has come to an end now. It's time to win. There's
Over
no
the
more.
line thing.
There's no more give it this more, the more type this deliver now. And for me, I think we need an elite manager to deliver. I think he's done a good job to get us to that point, and I think now we need to allow him to go and do his Brendan Rodgers and go and get a job over somewhere else and do very successful there, which I'm sure he will. And we need to go and get that elite manager, whether it's Simone Inzaghi, Carlo Ancelotti, Diego Simeone, Xabi Alonso, Thomas Tuchel after England. I don't care who it is. One of the guys with a CV that says I can win. That's what we now need. And the process for me has come to an end. And you're right, there's two processes. One of them is Mikel Arteta's CV. The other one's Arsenal winning trophies. And for me, I know what one I prefer.
And that's the thing, man. I hope we can do it with both. Me personally, I've checked out of the in or out debate. I don't think you can have a position where you're just pro Mikel Arteta, everything's the gaffer. Nor can I think it's one where, you know, you're just Mikel Arteta out now. And what I mean by that is, bit like most of the people that me and you do content with, there's people that look at it from a balanced point of view and say, you know what, like what you've just said there, like, oh, you've done this, that, the other, we can't get over the line. I don't think you're the guy. We need to try something else. I'm not referring to them, nor am I referring to the other side of that debate. But like, why do you think there's so much battle lines drawn? Like, even yesterday, I was watching your video, and it's lovely to see the back and forth with Yardman and everyone else. But why do you think like it's extreme on both sides and it's never kind of down the middle? Because for every guy that just can't stand the sight of Mikel Arteta, there's people that, let's be honest, it is a cult-like following, 100%.
Look, the Arteta in and out debate is rather silly to have at the moment because he's staying. So when people keep saying to me, "Oh, would you think you should?" You think, well, I think we should, but what's the point of talking about it when it ain't going to be happening?
Exactly.
Yeah? I think what we're doing here is we're talking about a scenario that is never going to happen in a million years. Now, I'm not saying Arteta's going to be here for 15 more years, but what I will say is he's going to be here for at least 15 more months. So when I look at when people say to me, we got to get him out, I don't think that we can. Yeah, the fans are more onside than more offside. Although I did a poll last night, which actually showed 75% of people would actually replace him, which is mad to me. I thought we were definitely the other way around. I thought it was more 75% wanted to keep him, but it shows what a result can do and what a season can do to you, right? And changing your opinion. There's also nothing wrong with changing your opinion. Let me give you an example.
Careful, Dan, man. We're in YouTube. You have to have the same opinion, bro.
What's it called? They think when you call the flip flop, is it they call you?
Yeah, the flip
Oh, you're a
flop,
flip
shake it all
flop.
about, whatever they call it.
Yeah, I think it's seen as an insult, but actually, I think it's part of the game. You know, I don't particularly think Ipswich are going to get European football, but next season, if they come up again and they get the right recruitment and they finish 7th and get Conference League, I might change my mind that they're good enough to go for Europe. And I might change my mind and be a flip-flop about Ipswich. Now, this is what happens in football, man. Do you know what I'm saying? Did people think Leicester had no chance of winning the league? Or did they flip-flop and said they had a chance in May? Do you know what I'm saying? So this is what happens with flip-flops in the fan base, man. Like, man, remain consistent until otherwise, bro. Yeah,
Exactly.
That's what I will say.
New info, you got to change your mind.
That's what the majority of us have done with Mikel Arteta that see things similarly to me. I think me, Turkish, Curtis, Troops, we're all in a similar bracket. Lee Gunner, Kenny, Ken, DJ, these sort of guys have all seen enough, and I think they've been proving me wrong.
And I think everyone's got valid opinions with that as well.
100%. I think it's justifiable. So, look, the only thing he's done that maybe look a bit like, maybe I'm a bit wrong here, was when he got us into a title race. Because when we were coming 8th, 8th, and 5th, I never saw that happening. If I'm honest with you, I thought we were going to get Champions League football, move him on, and bring someone in that can go for the title. He's proven already that he could actually get us into a title race. The thing with me is with Mikel Arteta now, he's only got to prove one thing to me. He's not got to prove 17 things. He's got to deliver. That's all he's got to do. I don't care if it's a Carabao Cup, bruv. I don't care if it's an FA Cup or a double cup. I don't care if it's a Champions League or a Premier League. He needs to bring a trophy to me and say, I can do this, and you didn't believe in me. And I hope that one day happens, right? I don't see any evidence that is going to happen, because at every hurdle, he seems to just throw it away. Whether we're playing Sporting Lisbon or Villarreal in the Europa League semi-final, or whether we're going to a semi-final with PSG,
I just can't get over the line.
whether we get to a semi-final with a domestic cup, winning 2 FA Cup games since he won it in COVID is a disgrace, and they were against Oxford and Palace, by the way. For me, it's not good enough, bruv. And I hold this club accountable, and it's not just Mikel, by the way. The owners have got to take massive L here. Massive L. They've massively let the club down in January and in the summer. Massively. So when I look at what Mikel Arteta is supposed to do in the last 5 years, I don't think it was win nothing, but just keep coming a bit better in the league. Because people keep asking me at the moment, would you swap your season for? Would you swap your season for? Do you know when people ask you that question, you've had a shit season, man. That's what it means.
Got over the line.
Nobody's asking Newcastle if they'd swap their season with Tottenham, but they're below us in the league. Yeah, but they won a Carabao Cup, so you can't ask that question. Would you rather swap your season with Aston Villa? Why aren't we asking if you want to swap it with Aston Villa? Why? Because they're out of everything and they're below us. They're asking, would you rather swap? Because we've had the crap season again, bruv. Everybody's in a final. The one team that got to their final and lost it, guess what? They won the league, and we've got to do a guard of honour at the weekend. Newcastle aren't even being considered as a Big Six club, but they've won a trophy. Palace and City are in a final. Liverpool got to their final, won the Premier League. You've got Chelsea in a Conference League final, and one of United and Spurs are going to win the Europa League and have a chance of winning the Super Cup. So I'm sorry, man. Sometimes you've got to say enough's enough. I'm at that point, and I appreciate not all Arsenal fans are. I appreciate that. I'm not saying they're wrong or they're right. All I'm saying is I have seen enough personally for me. Now, we could go on and win a treble next season. I think it's very unlikely. But
I hope it's not. We deserved it, man.
Exactly. Yeah, we need to see some form of silverware. We could do. It could be an unbelievable summer. It could be like, wow, the problem really was the board. And that's now been Berta's come in and he knows what he's doing. Edu and Vina didn't know. This guy knows. We could have an unbelievable opportunity. But I really don't think that Arsenal didn't win the league this season because they didn't have a striker. I really don't think that. I think we would have won more games.
It would have helped us a lot, but yeah, it's not the only reason.
Maybe we would have been in more competitions, but it wouldn't have guaranteed us to win a trophy because the manager and the players have got to get across the line together. And I think the mentality of this team is very weak, naive at the moment, and it needs to install some winning mentality, which is why I've just said to judges on his channel that this season, for me, the task is right now, do your thing in the summer. I'm not going to look at Arteta too much on that. Berta's going to be looked at massively. And then when you start, your first task is not just to win as many games as possible till January, it's to win that Carabao Cup. Yeah? While still being competitive in the league. Get through your Champions League group stages. We'll talk about that in January, February time. Then you look at January, you think, right, FA Cup's only just starting. We're still in that. Champions League, we're through into the new format again. Brilliant. The league, we're up there. We might be 2-3 points.
We need to be up there. We really need to, because this year was unacceptable.
And we've won the Carabao Cup. Then you go, right, one in the bag. Then you look forward to what else you can do. Can we go win the league? Can we get to the latter stages of the Champions League to give us a chance of winning it again? Can we go win the FA Cup, which we've done 14 times already? It ain't none of this, let's make sure that we can go and win one trophy because that's the only thing we've got left to win. Because every single season we've had one thing to win. Last season it was only the Premier League. This season it was only the Champions League. Previous seasons to that, it was only the Premier League again. Europa
a couple
League.
Years ago, Europa, and we know what happened against Chelsea.
So when I look at it, I think more pressure needs to be put on. And one thing I will say, if you're Arteta out, fair play, I'm not talking to you here. If you're Arteta in, what pressure is he under this coming season? Real talk. I'm not talking about, oh my God, get him out after the first 4 games of losing. I'm saying, what has he got to do for you? Some people will say just be competitive in the league. I don't care about trophies anymore.
Some people enjoy the journey rather than the destination.
There we go. Some people are like, I just turn up with my dad and my friends and I have a beer and I go, win, lose or draw, I'll still support
North London forever and all of that.
They sing the song and all that, right? They want the experience. Cool, that's fine. That's how they support their club. It's not a problem. Don't have a go at people like me who actually want to win stuff then. Do you know what I mean? Because I don't have a go at you for doing that. That's what you want to do, man. You enjoy it. And I hope you have a great time and hope you enjoyed doing that. Yeah, because Arsenal are a magnificent club. But the reason Arsenal are a magnificent club and the reason half of you support it is because of what we've won in our history. Not because we sing North London forever and wear red and white. Yeah. So when we look at that, we have to be realistic and say, time to deliver. And I want to know that. That's a serious question, DJ. I want to ask, what if you want him now next season? Fine. Fine by me. Cool. Enjoy it. I'm done. But if you're not, cool. But what does he have to do next season for you? Does he have to win? Does he have to win a certain trophy? Does he have to just compete? Does he have to show progress on the pitch? Does he have to score more goals? Does he have to beat a low block? What is it? Whatever it is in your mind that
Everything.
you'd like to see improved, there must be something.
And that's what annoys me, Dan, in that I'm actually like, I have a love-hate relationship with Mikel Arteta. As I said earlier, if I park him off and I look at him just as a manager, I agree with you that you know, the CV's getting built. I think he's got a lot of fragilities, but I admire his charisma. I admire his aura. I get onto his tactics, but I admire that. I think you've made bold decisions. I appreciate the fact that you've jumped in at the deep end and managed this club. I also appreciate that I'm not one of them fans that keep saying, "Oh, remember when we was back-to-back 8th and all of that." You took us out of that. You stabilized things. It's now about getting over the line. And I personally, one thing I don't get is you can't have high standards for a man and then not adhere him to those high standards. And what I mean by that is you can't say, you know, he's building this super team. He's a great gaffer. He's this, that, and the other. Not have any questions, or better yet, have excuses when he doesn't get over the line. Not have question marks about his game management, and actually finding his own solutions. Because I think anyone that looks at Arteta, and I know we're just armchair experts, he can set out a plan. I don't think we lost to PSG, but we didn't get embarrassed. He can stifle them and whatever. But in terms of in-game solutions, getting players with magic, etc., he needs to do that. And if people want to keep blaming the board, then Arteta has to go then. And what I mean by that is I'm not defending the Cronkies at all, but they could sit here and point to me, we've broken our transfer record. We've given him a lot. He spent 65 million on Kai Havertz. We gave him a job when, you know, a lot of people say, oh, who are you going to get to replace Arteta? Now, I'm not even getting into that, but Arteta was part of a coaching staff at Pep. So you can clearly find something somewhere. What I'm saying is, I don't think you can hold someone to high standards and then when things go left, hold them to mediocre standards. Had we have got to a final, we know the script, my guy, in the sense of with all the injuries and all of this he's got there. And I would also say, if he truly didn't believe he could achieve what he sets out or what we want, you would have to leave the club. I know he's getting paid 15 million a year, but if you truly believed that you couldn't get Arsenal over the line with whatever people say about the Cronkies, why the hell would you be here? It does not make sense, if I'm honest with you. And the issue with me, I know we'll go again next year and there'll be other nuances and whatnot, but we're just not getting anything set in stone. Like with the players, I think the players have reacted to adversity a lot this season, but apart from beating City and Madrid, there's nothing set in stone. There's nothing to say this was quote unquote worth it. I haven't seen the players down tools yet, and I also think we're making our own kind of mistakes. And at some point, maybe the halfway point, whenever that is with his new deal, we might ask questions. And then I look at it as a sense of, because I can't remember what you specifically said, bro, but you said something and it made me think. Do you think Arteta is rightly or wrongly left to his own devices in that the Cronkies clearly put people in certain positions? Arteta's got a lot wrong, but he's got a lot right. We're in different conversations. And in terms of, like you said, the summer or January, we don't really, well, excluding Berta, we haven't had someone that said, you know what, that's not right. You don't need Marino. You don't need Kai. We need to get a forward in. Like, do you think he's kind of left to his own devices? So we're kind of going to live or die by any successful failings on him rather than like a collective movement as a club? It's techie, man.
Let me give you an analogy, bro. If you've got your kids and you think I'm going out for the night, I'm going to trust that you're going to be all right at home on your own. You're going to have any supervision, you're not have any support or any help. It's decision making for yourself. And they fail when you come home and they've trashed the house, or they've come home, everyone's drunk, they're having a party with everybody. You're not going to leave them in. You're going to put somebody in charge now. That's basically what they've done, the Cronkies. They've let Arteta go and they've trusted him too much with his own devices. And I think what they need now, and I've realized, and I pray this is the case, Andrea Berta has come in to hold his hand and help him. That's what I think.
Needs that.
And he does need that, yeah. And every manager has needed that before, by the way. This isn't an amateur thing. This isn't an apprentice.
Arsene Wenger when Dean left.
Yeah? Arsene Wenger needed David Dean. Look at the people that Sir Alex Ferguson had alongside
Michael
him.
Edwards at Klopp with Klopp.
Michael Edwards with Klopp. You've got Sir Alex Ferguson, who has got and has had McLaren, Phelan, Kidd, all these guys that have been their right-hand men before. They always need that decision-making, advice, sounding board, somebody told your hand to say, let's get through this together. Mikel Arteta might need that. Do you know what? This guy's got the credentials for it. In my opinion, there's an opportunity for us now to really go big in the summer. And I'm looking towards both of them to get this right. So for me, I don't think that it's a, oh my God, they don't trust Mikel Arteta anymore. I think what they're doing is they're giving him more help. Because if they didn't trust him, they'd sack him, right? So they clearly trust him. They're just allowing him to now have some support and guidance. It's like he's got a mentor, in my opinion. You know, it's like when you're doing well in your job and they say, right, to take you to this next level, we need you to do this. But we know you might need a bit of support alongside this, so we're going to give you this mentor. I think Andrea Berta might be the mentor for Arteta in terms of the off-the-field stuff. On the pitch, he ain't going to get involved. He ain't going to say, this is where you should play so-and-so, and why don't you think about playing this different formation? That ain't his job. His job's off the pitch, and is to say, right, I'm going to deliver you what you need to get the stuff on the pitch done.
Proper
this
tools.
left winger is where you need to go and get. I'm going to sort you out this striker. This midfield option is available. We're going to get this in. This backup goalkeeper and backup defender is going to be coming into the Arsenal. That's what I need to see Andrea Berta doing. And I don't care who the names are. People keep saying to me, it has to be this name. It has to be this name. If we go and get the three names we're linked with, let's say it's Williams, Sesko, and Zubamendi, or Williams, Gyökeres, and Zubamendi, and we hit two players I've never heard of. One of them's a backup goalkeeper, backup defender. I'm cool with it for now because it's Berta. Yes, they've got
as long as they're good players, who cares?
Yeah, they're good. But if before they prove they're good, I'd have more faith because Berta's done this before. So that's kind of where I'm at with this window. I think we get 5 in. I think that's what we'll do.
Do you think we need more than 5?
Yes, but I don't think we will get more than 5. I think we will get a backup goalkeeper to replace an upgrade on Neto. Don't know who it will be. Maybe Garcia. I think we'll get a holding midfielder, which I assume will be Zubamendi. I expect us to get a versatile defender who can play centre-back. I think it might be somebody like Harto or Howson. And then, of course, Williams is looking like the guy that we want, or Jamie Gittins on the left. And then up top, Gyökeres. That's what I expect. Maybe we need another creative midfielder and a box-to-box midfielder because our midfield needs serious surgery if Partey is going.
Serious surgery.
But I don't know that we'll get those other 2 positions on top of that, bro.
Do you think Partey signing a new deal and Zubamendi coming in is enough in midfield?
If we bring in Zubamendi and Partey and Jorginho go, I think we're short again. Because Zubamendi and Rice can both play in that holding role. Rice can play in the box-to-box. Marino, I'm not sure can, but Arteta believes he can. And you got Odegaard and Nwaneri. So for me, I think what we need is, on top of that, maybe an Eze and a Reinders. On top of
especially the skill set of Reinders. I think we need a midfielder like that, if I'm honest.
That's what I think.
And then for me, it's like I was watching the PSG game. Now, I know it's not as easy as this, but Saka is one thing. It just made, obviously, you mentioned Gyökeres. We all know we need a striker. But I'm watching Saka, and I'm just thinking,